What a wild week in the markets. The AI chip trade has been punished this week, and the strength of the Japanese yen has put the dollar under pressure. The Treasury has stepped in and announced buybacks of US debt. Rates dropped a little for one day, but the next day rates were right back to where they started and are continuing to rise. Oil is back over 85. Gold is taking off again. US dollar is way down even though the Treasury attempted to manipulate the market. Even crypto caught a bid with the US dollar weakness and a vote on the Clarity Act scheduled for September 15. We also enter this week awaiting the earnings from the world's most valuable company, NVIDIA. Then we got news over the weekend of Trump's trading activity. With interest rates rising, this provides for what should be an interesting next couple of months as we head into the midterm elections. I'm the Wall Street Yardie, and this is the weekly market report for the trading week starting August 24th. I get you set up, give you a plan with the idea of where the market might be headed before you take any trades this week. This way, we stay on the right side of the trend, giving you the edge we all need. Jumping right in, oil is creeping back up with Brent crude hitting 94.83 this week as it tried to fill the gap from July. Taking a step back to the bigger picture, we now look at the weekly chart and we find that oil bounced right at the support level we have tested several times over the last 3 years. Seems that this is the relative floor for oil right now. Not only was this a long-term support level, it filled the gap that was created when oil broke out back in March. And a new uptrend is starting off this support line as well with a higher low around 78.50. Altogether, we see that we have started a new uptrend with oil. Inflation is still a problem, and the Strait of Hormuz is the key to this problem. Check out the short I put together over the weekend. With the dollar dropping, gold and Bitcoin rising, Trump made some moves in June. He's had a better record than Nancy Pelosi in the last 18 months. Buying up stocks that would typically benefit from lower rates. He's bought Fidelity National Information Service, ticker FIS, which is a financial infrastructure play that sells software to the banks and finance companies. Home Depot, which also does well when rates are lower. Then he went ahead and bought Berkshire, which is essentially an insurance company, again, right in the finance theme, along with Visa and MasterCard. Seems he's even picked a defense contractor with the purchase of RTX and then also selling Northrop Grumman. We know he wants lower rates, even though all the things that we just pointed out indicates otherwise. We have a fight for rates right now with the macro news showing one thing and the administration setting up for the opposite. The wild thing is that the VIX is not pricing in any of this. VIX is supposed to reflect the market risks, and it seems market participants are a bit complacent at the moment. We're going to need to watch how this plays at the next Fed meeting. This week, all eyes will be on the NVIDIA report, which drops on Wednesday after close. We also get CrowdStrike, CRWD, and CRM, Salesforce, which are both companies that should benefit from this new cycle into AI adoption. Wednesday, we also have Viva Systems, which is a software company. This is an interesting one as they benefit from deep industry specialization in life sciences. With software that's tightly aligned to complex regulatory, clinical, and commercial workflows, it makes it difficult and risky for our large pharmaceutical customers to switch once their systems are in place. Viva has broken out with the shift to quality software after all the software names have been punished. Then on Thursday, we get Iren, a big AI data center player, but also a former Bitcoin miner. So we'd be interested to see if they comment on the recent rise in crypto. Marvell also reports, and they're a big chip player as they build custom chips for the hyperscalers like Google and Amazon. So let's jump into charts and see how the month of August is wrapping up as we head into the most volatile season of the market. All right, we're going to start with the SPY chart, but I'm going to start on the monthly this week as we have 1 week left in the month of August. And as we ended July, I was telling you to watch this doji to see if we would continue on down because we had a lower high. We did have a higher low, but we weren't sure which way it was going to go. Remember, dojis are indecision. So we were watching that coming out of July, and we entered August and pushed way, way high as we got news that the Strait of Hormuz was going to get opened again. That news has now faded, and so has the market. As you can see here, we get a nice long wick at the top of this monthly candle. The other thing I'm watching here at the very bottom is our volume. Our volume in August is super, super low. We're well below the average. We've been below the average for the last, looks like 5 or 6 months here, but August is even lower, which means as we're going up through the month of August, and we do have 1 week left, so volumes would have to really kick in high gear this week, which I doubt they will. As we're going up, the volume has dropped, which means momentum has slowed down. So potentially we're looking at August being a high or a top here with this long wick at the top. Anytime I see these long wicks at all-time highs and pulling back, it means that we're closing a little week on that particular candle, in this case the month. We're right now still right about the middle of the candle range, right? So from the bottom to the top. So we got to see how this week folds out. As we get into the daily chart, you're going to see we're going to have some levels here we want to watch. So this 758 level, this 760 level kind of marks that midpoint in this candle. It also marks the resistance level we had at the top of these months here in May and June. So we're going to watch. If we close below that for the month of August, and it would be a much longer wick here, then I'm going to promise you that September is going to be very weak and October might be weak as well. So let's jump over to the daily chart. Let's find our ranges for the week and see where that trigger happens, right? So as we're looking at the daily chart now, you see that we still have our gap open here from back on August 4th when we got that good news about the Strait of Hormuz possibly being reopened, right? So that's when the market tore higher, got all the way up to this new high here that we had 778.80. So we marked that up here on our chart. And then, we pulled straight back after that. So we've had now 6 straight days of red candles. We put some puts on 2 Fridays ago, and we're looking to possibly take those off. We paid $4.50 for a put spread, and we're possibly looking to take that off here for $7 or $8, given that we got a little bounce on Friday. So we want to see if we pull back down to our level. Remember, our target was down here at 760. We get down to 760, close this gap. I'm going to close that spread for whatever I can get, probably going to be close to $7-8. And then I also put on during this week, when I saw this weakness kicking in, I put on another longer put for March expiration at the 775 level as well. So I'm feeling like we're getting lower, especially after seeing the monthly candle with that long wick at the top. I'm feeling very bearish about these charts right now on the SPY. And so we're looking to go lower. So what's going to happen is this week I'm going to be watching that 760 level. If we close below it, if we get anywhere near this 755 or even close below 755 this week, then that is going to be a signal that we're headed towards 725 to the downside. Now, if things turn around, we get some good news. We actually got some news about the Canadian tariffs over the weekend as well. So that's going to probably add more weakness here on Monday. We've got the NVIDIA earnings. We got to pay attention to that. If all of that, doesn't come out and strong and push the market up, we're going to probably close below 755, and then I'm looking towards 725 following that. If all comes out, it's good. We figure out the Canadian thing. We start to figure out the Strait of Hormuz this week for some magical reason. Then we would look at breaking the 780 level. 780 break would get us up, looking at target around 790, and then to the top side 810, right? Which is probably where we would go if we do break out of that 780 level. So those are our levels. 780 breakout to the upside. If we close below 755, I'm going to call it, to the downside, then expect us to go towards 725. So for those of you trading the options, those are the 2 directions I'm working on. Those are the trigger levels, right? So this 755, 760 range is going to be that support area I'm watching. If we close below that, then we're going to the downside towards 725, and you might want to look at doing some puts there, right? So that's my opinion of where I think the market is going to go this week, and that's what we're looking at on the spot. Now, switching over to the Qs, the story is a little bit different. QQQ has been sitting in this range. Now, remember, QQQ is all these tech stocks. So all the tech stocks have been kind of hit. We've been coming on the bottom of this range now. We broke out of it. And again, that August 4th straight was going to open, but then we hit this trend line here. We didn't even quite get up to that and reversed right off of it. So now we're at the bottom of that range. It looks like 707. If we close below that to fill this other gap here, that might be another support level. Anywhere below, close below this gap. I'm going to say anything below this little area. I'm just caught my eye right here, a 700 level. If we close below 700 on the QQQs, that's where I'm going to see us to the downside. And we're probably going to go back here to this low, close to 660, right? So that's going to be a big drop for the Qs. So we're going to watch NVIDIA earnings. If that pushes the Qs below 700, look out below. All right, that's it for this week. Hope you learned something. Catch you on the next one.